at this one? Yeah, I'd imagine you played it only a couple hundred times by now. So this is a really fun one to work on for a lot of reasons, but it's one of the few excerpts where it's a truly section excerpt. All three parts are playing the same part in unison, same pitches. It only breaks into harmony at the very end. So it's a really easy one to just kind of put together with some friends and really check yourself, make sure that you're playing everything correctly. How about we start just at the pickup to rehearsal 4, and we'll try running the main section, so up till 5. So it's not marked on this copy, but do you know what the tempo of this excerpt is? Quizzing you here.
Speed up as I go through it.
Yeah, and that's probably the single biggest thing that people listen for with this excerpt. You want to maintain a very constant tempo. The marked tempo is actually only 88, so it's much slower than most people actually perform it. My advice would be play what's marked, and then if the committee wants to hear it differently, then they can ask. But don't ever go off of what the ink says until they specifically ask you to, because otherwise they might just assume that you're not familiar with it and don't know how it's intended to go. So I would say let's slow it down a little bit. 88 feels slow for this one because it is performed faster most of the time, but let's try it right around bum 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 bum. Okay, good. Yeah, so there are kind of a lot of weird chromatic licks in this one that have to be worked out. But yeah. So I probably gave you a little bit slow tempo to start with anyway, but I always advocate starting slowly with these fast excerpts and building up rather than starting at the marked tempo and kind of reinforcing any missed notes or bad habits. I'd prefer that you practice slowly and really get out any of the imperfections until you get to your final tempo. So I think what we did is a good practice tempo. It's probably under 88, but if we're going to shoot for a final goal tempo, maybe more like around there somewhere. But anyway, that being said, let's stick with the slower tempo for now, and let's play it together once. So what we're really trying to do here, and it's probably weird because you're playing a horn that doesn't have an F attachment. Yes, yeah, it's very strange doing it without that. But it's a good challenge too. So yeah, let's try running it together, and we'll see if we can really kind of focus our intonation, and we'll try to keep the steady tempo too. So even if some notes are going by and they're not totally accurate, that's okay. We'll just keep moving in real time. So start the pickup to bar 4. 1, 2. did you feel with that?
A lot better than the first try.
Yeah. Good. Do you want to try it a little bit faster now? Somewhere maybe in between what we did and what the performance tempo would be?
Yeah.
Okay, great. How about, let's play it together again, but this time we're going to do it at a mezzo forte. So ignore the fortissimo marking, and this way we can really focus on our accuracy, make sure everything's happening how it needs to, and then we'll add in the louder dynamic later. But if we can get everything happening at a mezzo level, then it'll make it much easier to eventually just play it louder rather than, it's basically taking one more variable out. So here we go. Pick up to bar 4 again. 1, 2. Good. Yeah. So last thing we're going to do, how about try it once without me? So we'll just kind of see where it started and where it is now. Good. Yeah. I mean, aside from that one section where the sequence is going up by half step, yeah. Aside from that, a lot better. Do you have any questions with this excerpt? Anything about style or about trombone side? Anything like that?
So like at the beginning of each one, we have like staccato marking over top of the first 2 eighth notes in each of the like small runs.
Right.
Should I be playing those differently than say these running eighth notes towards the end of the run?
No. So that's a very good question. I think it's just kind of a shorthand saying this is how we're starting the style for this phrase, and then it's kind of implied that you will just take everything that follows after that and play it in the same style. But that's a very good question because it is a little bit misleading. I would say that you also need to make sure that you're playing from a good copy because sometimes there are cheaper editions that don't have all of the original markings, and this is actually one of them because looking at the original, you will see that those staccato markings do carry through all of the notes. But then once you get down, well, it's a little bit different in your part, in the bass trombone part, but at the end of the excerpt, you start to see a couple of notes that have natural slurs. Bum da da dun da da dun 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 da da dun dun da da dun, and then bum 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 bottom bottom. That interval right there, those are completely without tongue. They are not articulated. They're just natural slur. So that's probably one of the most important things and the very first things you should do when you're preparing for an audition. Make sure you go and get the best quality parts that you can find because you don't want to learn something incorrectly just because it wasn't printed the right way. But yeah, great question. I think that's probably good enough. Yeah.